the Opupco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and we're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. Go online anytime and order your pizza at papajohns.com. Time for We Pick 'em. We got 5 games. Let's start with an NFL, Barry. This one on Sunday, a high noon game. Dallas goes to St. Louis, and I have to admit, a week ago, I wouldn't have thought twice about picking this game because Dallas seemed like an inconsequential team. Lo and behold, they come back off the pile of the dead this week. Wow. Who do you got in this one, though?
Well, I got the Cowboys, and it might be easy. I mean, the Rams are in total disarray down to their third quarterback. Sam Bradford, of course, out for the year. And all of a sudden, Dallas defense isn't half bad. They actually played halfway good against San Francisco. It was Tony Romo that messed that game up. And then the Cowboys played very well at Tennessee yesterday. I think Dallas is going to go to 2-1.
How did Jake Locker in Tennessee beat the Chiefs in week 1 is my question.
I don't know. The Chiefs played good yesterday. I don't know. Good question.
Week 2, total change from what we saw in week 1. I don't know what to think about any of this, but I'm picking Dallas to win at St. Louis on Sunday. I don't think Dallas has a ton of wins in the bag. I think they're 8-8, 9-7 type of team, but this is one game I think Dallas wins. I think they got a little momentum coming off of that win yesterday, or on Sunday. So I'll take the Cowboys. But after week 2, I'm not putting any money on any NFL games, for crying out loud. What a crazy turn of events week 2 was. All right, Barry, let's get to the college games and start with a big Thursday night game. This one's sort of been on people's radar for months. Auburn goes to K-State. 6:30 on Thursday. The Cats, not usually a team that schedule really tough teams in the non-conference. This time is different.
It is. I'm going to take Auburn because it's a cold, cruel, dark world. That's why I think Auburn's going to win, because if the world was a righteous place, the Cats would win. This was a huge game for the Big 12. If the Big 12 wins this, all of a sudden, every future game against Kansas State looks a lot better.
Yep.
Every future game in the SEC against Auburn looks a little worse. So this is a big game for Big 12 morale, for Big 12 prestige, for Big 12 bragging rights when it comes to the College Football Committee. But I'm afraid Auburn's going to win.
Well, I'm going with the Cats on this one, and I'm picking them in large part because I picked them in the preseason, and I said that they were going to score the Thursday night upset, so I'll stick with that. But what they had to struggle through at Iowa State was a little bit of a concerning point for me. But I'm going to stay with the Cats. It's going to be a crazy environment, Manhattan on a Thursday night. It's a great scene on a Saturday, but I think you give people that primetime Thursday night environment. And Auburn coming to town, I think K-State, the environment's going to be great. I think the Cats are going to play well. They don't beat themselves for the most part. I'll go with K-State. I hope you're wrong. All right, Barry, what about this SEC game? Florida going to Alabama, 2:30 on Saturday. It looked like Florida might lose to Kentucky on Saturday, but can they win at Alabama?
You say Florida at Alabama, you get all fired up. I mean, Tim Tebow against Greg McElroy, Nick Saban against Urban Meyer. Those great games, those great SEC title games throughout the years. And then you remember that Florida stinks. Under Will Muschamp, they haven't gotten better. They've gotten worse. They did need 3 overtimes at home to beat Mark Stoops in Kentucky. No, I think Alabama rolls.
Yeah, I do too. I've got Alabama winning this one for sure. And I think it was maybe the first quarter, Will Muschamp nearly had a meltdown. I can't imagine what he was like in that third overtime against Kentucky. That would have been a huge win for Kentucky. They obviously fell just short, but I think it just reminds us Florida nowhere close to what they have been over the last 3 decades. I mean, really, from about the early 90s on, Florida's been an amazing power. Those days are gone. It's going to take some very, very serious work to get them back to that level. All right, Barry, what about this ACC showdown? Clemson goes to Florida State. That's the primetime Saturday night game at 7 o'clock. Who you got in this one?
I got Florida State. Clemson might be a fraud. We'll have to see. They lost some star power off last year's team. Lost to Georgia in the season opener. A pretty good game. But the Seminoles rolled Clemson last year in Clemson. I don't think they can get it done at Tallahassee. I think Seminoles roll.
Yeah, I like Florida State in this one as well. And, Florida State starting their ACC run now. This is where they really picked up momentum last year. You just didn't see them with any, almost no challenges in the ACC a year ago. And frankly, I'm not sure there's one out there this year. I mean, I think you're right. I think Clemson's sort of okay. I thought they might be a team that could contend for a playoff spot after the way they finished last year, but I don't see it now. So I see Florida State winning pretty handily on Saturday. All right, Barry, what about the game involving the one state team playing this week, OSU being off? OU goes to West Virginia. Not prime time, but 6:30 on Saturday night in Morgantown. It's going to be quite a scene. Who you got?
Well, I tell you, West Virginia much better than they were last year, much better than we thought. They played Alabama tough. They went to Maryland and won. It looks like Dana Holgorsen has his offense back in high gear, which was not the case a year ago. I'm thinking it's going to be another tight game. You know, the Sooners in 2 years of the Big 12, West Virginia and Oklahoma played two excellent games, 50-49, 16-7, two tight games. So I think this one will be tight. Here on Monday morning, we're filming on Monday morning. I'm picking Oklahoma, but I reserve the right to change as I go deeper into the week.
I'm taking Oklahoma as well, but you know, when you think about those two games, those two scores, how vastly different those two games were. That amazing shootout 2 years ago, Tavon Austin running wild, Landry Jones with the big touchdown right at the end, his finest hour as you were talking earlier today. But clearly, just an unbelievable game. And then last year, you've got the close call, West Virginia not able to score. Trevor Knight gets knocked out of that game. You see Blake Bell come back, sort of starts his run as the starter last year. Crazy how different those two games are for Oklahoma. But I think they go to West Virginia and get it done. I think the defense, while it's going to be tested like it hasn't yet this year, I think they get it done. This defense, it's so crazy to think where that defense was 2 years ago and where they are now. It's night and day, and I think they get the job done in Morgantown. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.